Hello, and welcome back to the Let Us Talk podcast show, the show that is rated R for real and not PG for playing games. I'm one of your hosts, the Boss Lady.
And I'm the D.O.C.
All right, join us for our weekly conversations about life, culture, and everything else. Get to know us, get to love us. Before we get into this episode, let's give a shout out to our sponsors, Cigar Junkies, as well as CJS Educational Services. Don't forget to get your merch at cigarjunkie.com. Before we jump into our three-course meal of the day, just got to pause and just say, how are you doing, the D.O.C.?
I'm straight. I'm a little tired. Been an interesting week, to say the least. But other than that, I'm here, ready to go.
It has. I would definitely say it's been an interesting week. Definitely for sure. So, jumping right into our appetizers, which is a couple of hot topics, and both of these hot topics are really based on a couple of Facebook posts that I recently came across. And the first one was a question that was asked, and the question was, do men care about women wearing designer clothes, driving nice cars, and rocking expensive purses? It was a video clip that was shown. Pretty sure a lot of people probably saw it, where you had a male explain that most men don't care about them things. So I wanted to bring the D.O.C. in this conversation and just ask, because you are a male. So do men really care about those things?
Yes and no. I mean, the most of the guys I deal with, I ain't never met a guy who was like, oh, I only want to mess with a girl who only has a Gucci bag or Balenciaga outfit on or Gucci or Louis. I've never really seen that. But at the same time, guys don't want what they would consider like a bust down. So, or a girl that they would consider basic. I ain't gonna say bust down. I'm gonna say basic. And so, it could be just the type of purse she wears. Like if she's wearing a purse that I don't know.
Like what's a basic? Like is Coach basic? Would that be considered basic?
For some guys, it is.
Or Michael Kors, like the brands we used to like coming up. Those brands would that be basic?
I don't know nothing about purses, but for some guys, the guys I dealt with, I've never seen a guy not go out with a woman because she wasn't wearing designer or something like that. I think most of the guys I know, they're more into, they look at the vehicle, the type of car that she's driving or where she's living, where she lives at, like the neighborhood, as opposed to, what she's got on. I've never really known guys that get, they looking at the ass, the body.
He went straight to the ass.
Guys don't even care about lashes, them big ass lashes and shit. Or, they want your hair did, but they don't care if it's a wig or not.
But y'all don't want to see no woman in no ponytail either.
No, I just said they just want their hair did. So, but guys are more into the physical aspect as opposed to what's on the outside of the physical. You follow what I'm getting at?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't think guys really.
I think women may get caught up more than the men. I think if you look at that question, do men? I don't think men really care. I'm being honest. I see some men and the women they with, and they could care less. I think it's more women that probably care about what type of clothes the man wear, or what type of car he drive, or what type of jewelry, accessories, and things like that he's rocking. But I don't think that men really care, honestly. But yeah, it was all on social media, and like everybody was in a frenzy about the video, so it was notable to bring that up. Next hot topic, real quick. So this is a post that I saw on somebody else's page. I don't know if I'm allowed to say who I saw it from. I know the D.O.C. has a no name type thing going on.
It doesn't matter who page
it was on. It was saw this, and it was about Brian McKnight. So for those of you all who don't know, and I'm just laughing because I have a friend who was just in love with Brian McKnight like forever. So recently it has come up that Brian McKnight has denounced, I guess, his first set of kids, because he said that, and I guess I'll quote you, he said they were products of sin. So he kind of denounces those children because he has a new family, and it has really pissed people off. So the post was, it's sad to read about Brian McKnight and his kid drama. Side note, this ain't new with him. What kind of woman is she that she's comfortable with a man that has had historically problematic relationships with his kids? Question mark. Now, from a male's point of view, what kind of woman is a female that's comfortable with that? Because that kind of leads into our entree for tonight.
Well, honestly,
I know you don't give a fuck.
No, one thing, how you gonna tell me what I don't do? I mean, how you gonna put words in my mouth? Ain't that the whole point of you asking me the question?
But, you know who Brian McKnight is.
But I really don't keep up with celebrity gossip. I could care less. I'm not a Brian McKnight fan. I don't really listen to his music. Not saying that he's bad or not. I just don't listen to the brother. I really don't know nothing about his personal life, who he's dating, who he's married, how many kids he has. I don't know.
But you can talk about it from a standpoint of how does a man have a family beforehand, and then you don't claim or you say them products of sin just because you may not have.
The thing is with relationships are multi-layered. And that's one of the reasons why I've said before, I don't do relationships. I don't do the 2 R's, religion and relationships. Whether they be celebrities, whether they be people I know. Because there's so many layers. I don't really know why he would disown his family like that. We don't know. And for fans or for people on the outside to even try to have an opinion on it when they really don't know everything that's going on. It's just like, I mean, I hate to say it, but shut the fuck up and mind your business. I mean, I don't know and don't care. I really could. I mean, to me, I'm talking about it too much now. I don't know nothing about Brian McKnight and if his woman should go what he's saying. He may have a reason why he don't fuck with them people.
Okay.
And so I know people that cut off certain family members, and we don't know until you see why they did what they did, and then you find out, oh, they molested somebody, they did this to somebody, they beat up their mama. It's a lot of reasons why people not fucking with people. So I don't get into that shit, man. I really don't. And then on top of that, the celebrity gossip. I don't give a fuck. So I don't.
I guess we're gonna say period after that. Well, I guess the question is just what kind of woman is that? And I don't think it's necessarily a certain type of woman. Because sometimes you may not even know about the man history. So I think when you ask this question or when you look at this whole thing of women who have kids with no good men, because that's essentially the basics of what's going on. It's hard to identify that unless you talk to one of them women. But I know I saw something else on social media, and it was from a female who actually made this comment saying that having a child by a man that actually cares about being a father is a blessing. And I thought that was just crazy to see that quote that just like.
Can you repeat that again?
Having a child by a man that actually cares about being a father is a blessing. Is a blessing. So that leads into the first question. What's the mentality behind a woman having a possible baby by a man that they probably already know won't be there for them or don't even want kids, things of that nature? What do you think that mentality is behind that?
All right. First, before I get into the question, I want to address that statement. So having a child by a man that actually cares about being a father is a blessing.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's that statement is a loaded, is a bullshit statement. She thinks that whoever said it think they're saying something positive, but once again, it's creating this false narrative that black men ain't shit. That the majority of black men that are fathers.
No, it didn't say black father. It just said being a father. It didn't identify a race. It just said being a father.
Being a father. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. it's creating this narrative. I'm talking about black people, so I don't know who put that on there, but from my vantage point, I'm talking about black people, and I think that is creating this false narrative that men are just out there and not taking care of their responsibilities, whether it be physically, psychologically, or emotionally. Mm-hmm. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. But what was the question again?
So what do you think is the mentality behind these women who knowingly have babies with the men, knowing that they might not be there for them or their child?
Because I want to go back, because most of the guys I know, a lot of us didn't grow up with fathers, or the ones that did have fathers, they may not have been the best role models or examples, you know what I'm saying, for whatever reason. So I know my generation of men, whether they're with the mother of their children or not, they're still amazing dads. I'm just keeping it real. I'm not exaggerating. I know this to be a fact.
It is true.
So most of my homies and a lot of the niggas I fuck with, a lot of those guys are really great dads. Because I wouldn't fuck with them if they were shitty dads. Because I've done stuff with them as dads from back when the kids were little to going to sporting events and hanging out and doing stuff. So I know that. So that's why, to me, I had a problem with that initial statement. But women that knowingly have with guys, I mean, to me, I had a friend who had this saying that people date based on their esteem level. And so what I'm getting at is that, and I hate to say this, but women, and they may not even be aware of this, but low value women or people that carry themselves or have that about themselves, they attract that. Mm. Shit attracts shit.
Yeah.
So it's a reason why, and generally these women are attracting shitty guy after shitty guy after shitty guy for whatever reason. So at some point, you have to look internally in yourself and find out why you're attracting men like this. And then in this day and age, especially if you know the guy to be like that, and especially if the guy has other children and he's not active or not where he needs to be, I don't understand why a woman would knowingly have a baby with these type of person when there's so many different ways. And I'm not advocating one thing or another, but there are ways where you can take care of that situation.
Well, we definitely gonna get to that.
So you know that's a dicey subject, but I don't get it. And then have a situation where you're essentially struggling financially, emotionally, psychologically for the next 18 plus years, when you had every opportunity to avoid that.
Well, when we say opportunity to avoid that,
I'm not,
So, because this kind of goes along with what's going on. So you say you had the opportunity to avoid that. So, scenario. You tell a guy you're pregnant, okay? Or that you think you're pregnant. And of course, you may get that weird response initially, but maybe that may disappear. But then you notice that the relationship takes a turn, maybe become non-existent. You notice just from off the gate, from you telling them to the beginning stages, person is not the same, disappear, whatever the case may be. So what advice? You gonna tell them to still have the baby? Or you gonna tell them why not take plan B? Why not use a different source?
Let me say this.
How you gonna explain that?
All babies are a blessing. And once again, I'm not getting into a person's decision making on what they should do. They should do what's the best for their situation.
What's best for you? Exactly. I definitely agree with that.
So, once again, it's a religion. It's a relationship thing. Babies are a blessing. Do what's best for you. I know what I would do in the situation, but do what's best for you.
That's true.
So
true. That's and I think at the end of the day, sometimes it just boils down to, is it worth the raw sex? At the end of the day, is it worth the raw sex?
At the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you this: I mind my business. I don't get involved with a person's sexual behavior and what they're doing in the bedroom. I could care less. I just know that I wouldn't engage in that, and I wouldn't advocate my son or daughter to engage in that sort of behavior. But other than that, do what's best for you. You know, I wouldn't do it, but do what's best for you. And I wish you the best.
Now, on the flip side of this, because I think that the conversation always comes from the woman and why the woman is always the question about the women. So, what about these dudes who be out here who like knowingly get women pregnant, knowing they have multiple baby mamas, knowing they're not gonna do nothing? Well, what about them? Because you rarely hear about them type of dudes. You always hear about the woman and her lack of judgment, but you never hear about the dudes
So
that's on
what's
the
your
flip side
question?
about that. So, what about these dudes? What's wrong with these dudes that get girls pregnant, knowing that they got multiple baby mamas and knowing that they ain't doing nothing? Is it a control thing? Like, what's the issue behind that? Do you think it's a control thing? Do you think it's mommy issues? What do you think is the real root of why a dude would go out there and purposely?
How would it be mother's issues for a guy to?
That's what I'm asking. I don't know how it would be.
Serially impregnate a bunch of women. How would that be mama issues?
I just said I'm asking because the first thing people
you're asking a leading question.
Because people, the first thing that people say sometimes is every time a person has an issues, it has something to do with their mom or their dad. If it's a girl, she got daddy issues. If it's a guy, he got mama issues. So just the cliche.
I think that's a bunch of bullshit too. That everything's got to do with daddy issues or mama issues. It could be you're just a fucked up individual. I mean, why blame it on somebody?
Hey, and I asked that, but a lot of times people always be like, when men treat women bad.
But what was the original question?
The reason I was just saying, like, what do you have to say about the dudes?
So guys,
we always talk about the women,
guys
not the
that
dudes.
do that. I've heard some guys, and once again, this is anecdotal. I can't say this is all men, but I think it's fucked up. I know some dudes who purposely get certain girls or try to get certain women pregnant, and it's a way that and these guys have no mean they don't plan on being with her. They don't plan on when I say be with her to raise the kid. They never planned on doing that. So I know dudes that do that, but is that the majority of men? No. But I know some guys that's fucked up do that, and they do it, I guess, for a way to still have the woman involved in their life some sort of way. It's the craziest shit, but I think it's dumb as hell too. But I know niggas that do that or have done that.
It's just I would love to just know where does it come from? Because it's like, if you're a man, how do you do this to other women when you have women in your family? You have sisters, you have aunties, you have nieces, you have like, how is it if you a man out here that's just you being bogus to women, or you just out here, like I just said, you getting women pregnant, you got multiple baby mamas, you got multiple kids.
How they being bogus to women?
I said, how can men treat women like that when you grow up with women, when you have other women in your family? Like, you can't tell me that every man that is out here being bogus towards women all had some type of woman that they saw this in their family. That's why they picked up this behavior. So I'm just saying, like, how can a man do this to women?
How will women pick up the behavior of having multiple baby daddies when their mom wasn't doing that? Once again, it's something internal in the person.
Okay. So we don't think that
for whatever reason the guy he has commitment issues.
Do we think that TV culture promotes this?
It depends who you talking about. You talking about black people, white people?
Just all in general, all people. Now, I obviously specifically black people.
I don't know about white people. I'm gonna talk about what I know about. I'm not a specialist on that. But with black people, I think it's a combination of factors. I think part of it is rooted way back to the institution of during enslavement, when black people were enslaved and the black family was completely destroyed. And so black men were purposely driven out of the family. We know that families were broken up. So men didn't even have any sort of claim to a family at any point in time. They could be stripped of that. I think that's rooted back in the culture, and women and communities, black communities have historically raised these kids despite the actual father being present. The other thing is that there was always a male presence. It may not have been the biological father, but there's always been a male presence. I won't want to dispel that myth. And then you jump all the way back to modern times when black people, unfortunately, a large number of black families were on welfare. And I know for a fact that we grew up on welfare, and one of the ways to get welfare was that you could not have any male presence in the household in order to qualify for food stamps and cash assistance. So that was another reason why men could not be around. I remember times when my mom would literally hide the presence of a male in the house, like my dad's clothes or something like that, because these caseworkers would show up and do inspections to see if you had a guy in the house. Which, when you look at it, is the craziest shit that you could possibly imagine. So it's a lot of reasons, but then those are external reasons. There's internal reasons too within black people. Um, we've bought up into this dysfunction. And with this dysfunction, you get a lot of these things. So you got serial baby daddies and you got serial baby mamas. It's fucked up. And so it goes both ways. Like I said, I don't absolve the men of this behavior, just like I don't absolve the women. I think, though, the women have more control because at the end of the day, the woman has control over her body. So she ultimately makes a decision. And then the other thing, the flip side of it is, and nobody ever talks about this, if you want to talk about the whole thing, is what about women that are having children with guys that tell them? So what about the situation where you have a situation where women are knowingly having babies when the guy tells them that, hey, I don't want to do this. I don't want to, I'll finance it. I don't want to be involved. And then they have the kid.
Should the dude be having sex?
Hey, once again, it goes back. They're both fucked up because I wouldn't. You're rolling the dice, homie, by knowingly engaging in unprotected sex when you know this can happen. So at the end of the day, it's on you, fam. It's on both of them.
I guess you do have small scenarios, mistakes, accidents happen, but most of the time, I'm pretty sure it's willingly. Hey, I think at the end of the day, I think that's a decision that I agree. I think that women have more control over it. So I think, just like you just said, just like how the women and men should be held accountable the same. Women do have more control over things, but at the end of the day, having the kids, knowing that you don't want to have nothing to do with the kids, is just a continuation of a vicious cycle. And I think knowing that, you should be real careful with what you're doing out there. So, hey, I ain't nobody to tell nobody what they can do, because it's their body and they can do whatever they want. Just be safe, careful, all those good things. Anything else you have to say about this? Because, like I said, social media has just really been putting emphasis on this whole narrative of.
But this is the thing with social media. I want to put this out. You have to be careful with that shit, man.
You do.
Because most of that shit out there is trolling, and most of it is clickbait. So it's purposely being negative. It's purposely pushing these false narratives. It's purposely pushing false news and fake news and things like that. So you have to be careful with that shit. I don't get caught up in a motherfucker put a post about Brian McKnight, or a motherfucker put a post about. I don't. At the end of the day, it's grown people's bedroom behavior, and who gives a fuck? Mind your own business. I know what I would do, but mind your own business. Yeah, that's another thing. Dwight Howard. We been knew what fam was into. It was known. It just now is like confirmed now. But at the end of the day, who cares? That's on that dude.
That's true. That is true.
I don't hang with him. I don't hang with people that hang with him. It doesn't matter to me. So I don't know why people really get caught up in that sort of thing.
We get it. It doesn't matter. We totally get it.
Yeah.
On that note, time to head to this dessert and get the dessert going. So we always do fair or foul. It's nothing different. And so the first one, And I don't know if again, because I believe everything I look at is not true. But I saw something that said that Yeezy is about to come out with his own line of porn called Yeezy Porn. Is that a fair or foul if it comes out?
So he's not going to be in the porn.
No,
he's just producing.
No, he's just producing it, I believe.
Well,
but
you
go from church going Yeezy to porn Yeezy.
I mean, the guy's actually. I mean, at the end of the day, the guy is a marketing and a capitalist genius. So I never bought into the church shit. I'm just gonna keep it real. I just saw that as a way of another way of making money. So but I never bought into that. So him producing it, I mean, Cameron Dipset has produced porn. Yellow Boy from NWA has produced porn. There's other entertainers that has dabbled into that line of work. So now I could see them getting into, especially with it being so popular. I mean, porn has always been popular, so it's not like it's extra popular now. It's just it's just readily accessible now because you don't have to go on the computer. You just pick up your phone. So he's looking at it to make another quick buck and do what he needs to do. So I guess that would be fair.
Okay. Something funny now that we're in the NBA Finals. What about if the Boston Celtics won it all? Meaning everything.
Well, at the end of the day, fuck Boston. I'm a Laker fan.
I guess that's foul.
So foul. I could care less. So fuck Boston.
Oh my God. Okay. Lakers all day. Well, my boys got knocked out, so I can't laugh. I really can't talk. Men watching women's sports. Any type of women's sports.
Well, I would say that's fair. I think that.
Agreed.
I think that guys that have problems. Let me just say this: I watch women's basketball. I watch women's boxing, and I watch women's like track and field stuff like that, like the Olympics. I watch that stuff, right? But I'm not gonna sit here and say that I watch women's sports on the regular. I watch women's basketball, and I want to say this: I was watching it way before this newfound popularity in women's collegiate basketball. My daughter played basketball for years, so I was a bitty basketball coach. I've been around basketball for quite some time. I was a manager with the men's basketball team at Northwestern, so you really learn the science behind basketball. That was, P5, D1, Big Ten. And so I've always said that. So I'm a basketball junkie, so I like basketball. I've watched Boys and Girls Club girls all the way up to pro. Me and my daughter, we had a partial season ticket at one point in time to the Chicago Sky. So I go to the games. We were going to the games before it was even popular to go to WNBA games. Because I always tell people that if you want to learn the actual game of basketball, because most women ain't flying around dunking and all that stuff like that. So you can really learn the fundamentals of basketball, how they run plays, how they play defense. Watch women's basketball. I always tell people that. If you want to learn the fundamentals, watch women's basketball. So I think it's fair. I think you should watch it and not watch it because now it's the cool, hot thing to do. But especially women's basketball, it is at a high level. And so most of those women, I know, not most, all those women can hoop the average nigga out there. Y'all know they could. They will give y'all. I've seen them girls, and they look little on TV until you run up on their ass, and you see that they 6'3" and 6'4", and they will give your ass the business. They will cook you. I'm just letting you know. So definitely fair.
Well, after all that, I would just say fair. You should watch women's sports. I think you really should. It's not even about supporting women's sports. It's just sometimes women are just better athletes sometimes. I hate to say it. But
better athletes than what? They're not better athletes than men.
I'm not necessarily than men. I'm just saying in some occasions, some sports, you do see that, like you just said it yourself, women basketball in some instances. Men going to always be the better athlete because they're men. But I'm just saying, when you look at different qualities, sometimes women's sports do look better, and some women do look better playing the sports than the men. I'm just saying.
I would disagree with that.
You can. I'm just saying. Sometimes I think I like the women's sports more than the men's sports.
Then why don't you watch it?
I watched the basketball. I watched the volleyball. Sometimes I watched the soccer when the soccer was coming around. I definitely was watching the tennis when Venus and Serena was killing it. Even a little younger, I cannot think of her name.
Name me 3 WNBA stars.
Oh, my girl, Sydney Johnson. Damn. Jesus, why can't this come out? Dang, it was just on the tip of my tongue. I was just watching her videos. Dana Evans, she's in the WNBA. Candace Parker.
That don't even count.
Candace Parker.
She don't even play.
No, she don't. She's a commentator now, but she did play Lisa Leslie.
That don't count.
She's
they're not active.
They're not active, but you didn't say active or non-active.
You only gave me one.
You said only 3 NBA players. You didn't say active or non-active or none of that. So, anyway, my last one. All of these new license plate readers, fair or foul? This is a lot of them. All these cameras, all these new license plate readers, cameras, all that through the hood.
I mean, I'm against. I would say foul. It depends. I'm against government intrusion. I think this has been predicted.
Government intrusion.
You read the book 1984, George Orwell. He predicted this. The big brother in which we will be in society, in which we will be under constant surveillance. They'd already predicted this, and so you see it. I always tell people that the moment you step out, literally, the moment you step out of your house, you are under constant surveillance and being recorded.
At the street lights, everywhere.
The moment, literally, because your neighbor has Ring cameras. Your neighbor has security cameras.
Yep.
Everything's being recorded.
That's so true.
There are cameras where you don't even know they're cameras. So you're always being recorded. Always. So I always assume that I'm being recorded everywhere that I go at any point. The moment I leave out my house.
That is true.
So other than that, yeah. So but I understand why they used it. Yeah. Because they've solved some crimes with it. I know that for a fact. Some murders that have occurred, they've solved them because of these license plate readers. They've placed people at the crime. The other thing is that they catch people with outstanding warrants and stolen cars, and so that's what they're trying to get.
That's helpful
because the crime. So I guess it can go both ways.
I guess if you're a law-abiding citizen, I don't know what that means.
So I don't break the law, so it don't bother me. So I guess it could be fair then.
Yeah, I would say fair in the sense that it is a tool that helps solve the.
But I'm automatically against the police with some of this shit.
I think that's a lot of people. I think that's a lot of people. But I think in this note, especially with the increase of stolen cars, especially in Chicago, now it don't affect Gary as much. Well, I don't know. Maybe you do. I don't look at the crime page and nothing like that. But I know in Chicago, I would hope that it would be a game changer and help them solve a lot of these stolen car cases where they stealing these cars and using the cars.
I mean, Chicago's got cameras every fucking way, and it's not solving shit. Because when guys are pulling the papers, they're doing it to stolen cars. So even if they get the license plate back, it's coming back as a stolen car.
I guess that's true. But I guess if you know it's a stolen car, I guess you'd be more alert if you know that it's stolen versus if you didn't know.
So I mean, I guess Hey, they trying to figure out a way to get a handle
technology.
The other thing people don't even notice too is that now
with the drones.
They've been here drones. I've seen them all over Chicago.
Yeah.
The drones on the south side flying around the
toll road.
Yeah, they do. They have them everywhere.
Yeah.
But no, it was the I forgot what I was about to say again. I forgot.
Well, I think the drones, I think all this technology, license plate holders, I think is all too much. AI, all of it. Just keep things the way it is. All this shit, all this technology is
was saying
crazy.
Is that a lot of people don't realize that all these people with their surveillance cameras and Ring cameras now, you can pay if you want like the government to pay for the cost of their Ring cameras and surveillance, the guidance that you actually will allow them to get live video feed of your cameras.
Wow.
So now there's a room somewhere with all these cameras, and a person is constantly looking at them and things like that. So it's crazy. So you're being surveilled. I don't know if people know that yet.
Well, on that note, be careful out there so you don't be surveillanced. Thank you. Enjoyed the show. And with that being said, go to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. Don't just like it, but hit the subscription button for us. And with that being said, we're on all social media platforms. We are on a lot of the podcast platforms. So again, like us, love us, get to know us. Any last thoughts, D.O.C, before we get out of here?
No, just say I appreciate you folks. Once again, keep liking the like button, put your comments in, and who knows, one day you may be a guest on the show.
Exactly. All right now. Y'all take care. Have a great week and peace out.